So I've rested on this message for some time, and it's a follow-up to the clapping for the $600 STEMI I did a couple of weeks ago. Many of you started following as a result of that message. This is a follow-up to that message. And basically, for those to catch everybody up, the one I'm referring to is the one where I was calling on some of my friends, my legit friends in my real circle, like, why are you sitting here checking your bank account and clapping behind $600 when it could have been 2 stacks, right? Because this is chess and not checkers. They're still playing in that because they haven't learned to invest into their own wisdom. And this is the epiphany that I have been sitting on ever since then. So I'm going to ask that once again, like I did in that video, for y'all to bear with me as I work myself through all of this. Because I spent a career as an educator, seeing children for who they are, but also seeing their potential, right? Because a diamond doesn't cease to be a diamond simply because all someone else sees is a rock. And what I believe got lost in the translation of that message as I'm sitting here calling on you is, do you not know and understand how valuable you are? Do you not understand how powerful you are as an individual? Do you not understand that you are fucking magic, right? That's what I was upset about, because you're clapping behind scraps that's already yours, because just because you're still in the lane of playing checkers doesn't mean that the game of chess isn't being played. Again, whether you realize the strategy, the pieces of the board, or even how to make a checkmate. So no different than I look at my students in my classroom, and this is in no way saying that I'm better than anybody. It's me trying to get you to understand, me trying to get you to see, me trying to get you to hit that light bulb that every teacher in a classroom wishes and hopes and prays to see in a child, right? And sometimes people just don't know better. But this video right here is a follow-up to that $600 STEMI check, right? Because I spoke about Mitch McConnell and the Senate, where it becomes this place where bills go to die. Now, I've talked a lot in my car. I've yelled a lot. I've screamed a lot. Charge it to my head and not to my heart, because I just feel like you're worth that much. But let's back up to the Tax Cut and Jobs Act back in 2017, when they rammed that through the Senate in the middle of the night, without any CBO budget reports, without bipartisan support, where notes were in the margin. And as a teacher, I wouldn't even accept a final essay with notes in the margin, but you're going to sit here and pass legislation. I sat there and watched as Senator Cassidy and Senator Kennedy from Louisiana, my state, right, go ahead and support that bill. Now, mind you, billionaire wealth since 2010 to 2020 goes from 1.5 trillion to 3.9 trillion, right? In the last 10 years. A lot having to do with the Tax Cut and Jobs Act passed in 2017. Billionaire cocktails of all different kinds of bailouts and things like that. Meanwhile, the federal minimum wage from 2010 to 2020 is still $7.25. And if worker productivity, if worker compensation had kept up with worker productivity and profits, you'd be getting $24 an hour. But instead, we're sitting here wondering why we can't get to 15. Right? Chess, not checkers. This is where we are. Right? So I want you to imagine all the wealth in the world. The bottom 99%, as a result of Tax Cut and Jobs Act and the current legislation, the TCJA, under this legislation, and as of last year, the top 99%, the bottom 99%, which is average Americans like you and me, we paid over 7% of our total wealth in taxes. So let's put this, I'm not a math teacher. I'm a social studies teacher, but let's pretend that this piece of paper right here is 100 squares. It's 10 by 10, right? So this means that the bottom 99, all the 99, paid 7% in their taxes, right? While the top 1%, matter of fact, I'm going to do you one better. Hold on. Let me take the 1% out. So this is the 1%. This is the 1%. I'm going to tear this, because we're going to divide this 1% into 1/10. while the top 1/10 of 1%, the Jeff Bezos making $13 billion in a day, only pay 3% of their total wealth in taxes. But we're complaining about them having to pay a wealth tax. And this is where we are. Chess and not checkers. I'm going to keep that there on the side for y'all to consider. But herein lies the issue that I have with Democrats, because I think that people think because I was very critical of the Republican Party, which is absolutely absurd at this point in time. I don't know, Republicans, you got to be losing your mind, especially the fiscal ones. Fiscal conservatives must be losing their mind. Those who saw what happened on January 6th and are totally against it and just took their L like every other president has, those ones have to be losing their mind. But my issue with most is that I ride in the middle, honestly, like 80% of other Americans that vote on their consciousness, like their conscience, right? And doing what is generally pointing in a morally good north compass. You know what I mean? But my issue with Democrats, and maybe this is just because I'm cut from a different cloth. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit more gutter and I like to ride in the gutter and not take the high road, because I don't know if anybody else is paying attention. But when you're dealing with people like Marjorie Greene, believing in space, Jewish space lasers and things like that, you're not at a point in time where you can sit here and negotiate, because you're talking about people who are in an alternative reality. Are you listening? I know you hear me, but are you listening? You're not at a point where you can sit here and just ride it along and just say it nicely, because they're not hearing you when they're talking about Jewish space lasers. You hear what I'm saying? Right? So if you need to say, cut the shit every once in a while, or what the fuck are you talking about? That's what needs to be said. But what pisses me off sometimes about the Democrats, because again, I'm fair, firm, and consistent. Anybody can get it. I'm sorry, Mr. Biden, President Biden, changing the face on a $20 bill, while it's a step in the right direction, we are tired of the symbolic changes. We don't need another street change. We don't need another Black Lives Matter painted on the street. We don't need another statue to come down, another confetti. Those are all steps, but they're also symbolic changes. They're not the systemic changes that we need, like the one that I'm pointing out, where folks like Jeff Bezos can make $13 billion in a day, in a single day, right? While 99% of Americans are paying more than 7% of their wealth in taxes, but then the billionaires upon the billionaires are only paying 3% of their wealth, and everybody's looking around like two stacks of a stimmy, right? In 10 months is a big deal when they're giving thousands to other countries, right? To their people. When we're still sitting here in the middle of a pandemic, but we don't have universal health care, right? And where are we in education? Criminal justice? Make up 4% of the world's population, but over a quarter in both COVID cases and incarceration. Let's start being honest with ourselves, right? Let's really genuinely start being honest with ourselves and start talking about the real issues. And if that starts to hurt your feelings, there's a reason why that phrase is get out your feelings, because your feelings are not fucking facts. They are your fictions. Do you hear what I'm saying? And they don't feel it. Facts don't give a shit about nobody's feelings, including mine, right? So shoot the messenger and then the delivery, but you cannot kill the content, right? Because you can't step on the content on truth. But let's get to the issue on why I take with Democrats, because you got Mitch McConnell, right, killing the 2000 stimmy by attaching the other things that Donald Trump wanted him to do. Then you have Mitch McConnell sitting there saying, we're not going to pull the Senate out of vacation, right, to even convict Donald Trump while he is president. We're not going to pull them out of vacation, right? Just so we can sit here after the fact and defend on the stance, well, he's a former president. He's only being a former president going to trial for impeachment because you wouldn't bring the Senate back from fucking vacation. Chess move, right? But here's the coup de grace. You ready? Because even though Donald Trump cost them the presidency, even though Donald Trump cost them the Senate, right? Even though Donald Trump he tried to get them to commit a coup. Something I also mentioned in that damn video about this damn $600 stimmy. You saw me in the video saying this exact thing. He's trying to perform a coup. They built gallows on the front lawn. They put bombs in front of the RNC and the DNC. They had zip ties. People, they literally stormed the Capitol and bludgeoned police. Blue Lives Matter, huh? Nah. Right? Bludgeoned police officers with fire extinguishers, right? Had you walking around under your desk in closets and all that stuff. And 45 of these fools still went into the Senate on day one and said, we're not going to go forward with the trial. We don't even want to hear evidence in the trial on how he tried to kill us, right? Don't even want to hear it. But that's two. But here's three in the coup de grace. So even though they've lost the Senate, there are still these archaic policies that are not within the Constitution, like the filibuster. So the filibuster prevents the majority or prevents a bill from being passed, even though the majority supports it. It's a way that the minority can sit there and hold it hostage. Now, where does this come from? It's not within the Constitution. It's unconstitutional. But where does it come from? It comes from Southerners trying to prevent civil rights legislation like anti-lynching legislation, correct? Which we only got passed last year or so. And federal anti-lynching over half a century. What do you, after Emmett Till, what? The filibuster, which could be defeated right now. And this is the issue that I take with Democrats, because you have the power right now to kill it. Because what's going to happen, and this is the follow-up, because now I've brought you up to speed. What is going to happen is Mitch McConnell has already threatened this nuclear Senate, all this bullshit, because what he's going to do, we already know what time of day it is when you got 45 of them sitting here refusing to even hear the trial of Donald Trump. So we already know the conviction's not coming. Number two, we also know that by going on that, as well as going on the filibuster, which is already in fucking place, that they're about to spend the next couple of months again still killing the bills that they've already tried to kill, the damn stimulus that Biden wants, right? The 1.9 trillion, they're already trying to kill that, and once again giving you only $600, right? But they're saying, oh, he wants to unify. This is where y'all get the message screwed up, because those on the right seem to think that just because we're going to hear you out, unity means concession. Unity means we have to sit here and continue to give these motherfuckers, the top 0.1%, we continue to give them bailouts, right? While the average American suffers and has to beg for scraps that's already theirs, whenever their tax dollars are the ones that are going to bail out the billionaires and not even themselves. Make that make sense. Make it make sense. So when y'all hear me getting upset with you about investing into your own wisdom, that's why. Because this is the game that's being played. Because nothing's going to happen in the Senate. All of these bills are going to go there to die, right? They're going to prevent all of these things. And then what the hell do you think is going to happen in 2022? It's a revolving door of the symbolic changes. They're going to sit here and continue to change a $20 bill and change a street or take down a statue and get absolutely nothing fucking legislated. And then the Republicans are going to sit there and turn it against the Democrats in midterms in 2022 and then use it with Trump in 2024 when he fucking runs again, because you refuse to either have the simple majority to either prevent him from running, because that is an option. You could just have a simple majority to prevent him from ever running again, or fucking convict him the way that he deserves for the insurrection that his own attorneys, 5 of them, quit yesterday because his defense that he bade them try to accept was election fraud. Not a defense, but he's trying to justify his insurrection. That's an admission of guilt. And you still have these senators there and these representatives there who are signing on to sedition. And that's the prediction going forward. If you do not wake up, we're going to be stuck in this. And this means putting the pressure not just to the Republicans and removing some of these people, but also maybe punishing some of these people in the media like Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity and all of these people, and even some on the left media who want to continue and talk about all the things that are not true, that are not based in fact, and pushing this narrative. Oh, I'm sorry. I look at y'all and it's like, if you do not recognize your power, look at the little TikTokers that tricked Donald Trump in Tulsa for his Tulsa rally. And there was nobody there in the rafters. They want to talk about rally sizes. I remember those empty crowds, right? The TikTokers who took on Donald Trump. Or how about the millennials that took on hedge funds this week? Black Lives Matter getting nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. Don't sit here and tell me that the power of the people isn't more powerful than the people in power, baby. All you have to do is recognize that you're a fucking diamond. I see this country for the way that it is, right? I'm very aware as to where this country is, but I'm also very aware as to what it could potentially be. And when you see me getting upset like that, it's because you are the solution and you are the answer. You should be putting the heat to getting any of these QAnon, shaman, Duck Dynasty supporting, all of these seditionists should be arrested and held to the fullest extent of the law, because white collar is no different than blue collar. And you have no problem whatsoever holding the average American to the chains of the Constitution, while these 1%ers or these 1/10 or 1%ers who sit here, right, and take advantage of the average man. And look at what they've done. Look at what even Robin Hood, which should be renamed Robbing the Hood, because you gave your word for the average person to start investing, and then they did, and when it came down to it, you sold them out. You sold them out, right? When it came down to it, and you shut down trading for the average American in order to save these big businesses and corporations. But where is the accountability? How do we fix it? We fix it by keeping the damn pressure on both Republicans and for sure Democrats, because now they have the power. And it ain't going to come easy with tiptoeing on fuckers' feelings. We've gone too far for that when we're talking about pedophile rings and Pizzagate and fucking Jewish space lasers. You hear what I'm saying? And this is coming from a teacher who can't code switch. But we're not at a point in time where we can sit here and play with fuckers' feelings when we're dealing with alternative realities and alternative facts. They should be held to the fullest extent of the law, no different than anybody else. Period. Point blank. End of story. I love y'all. And hopefully one day you realize just how fucking magical you are. Because I see it. Teach your life. Mwah.